Hey guys, this is Darren coming to you from McKegart on Instagram and McKegart on my YouTube channel. Thank you everybody for following my art and subscribing on the YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. Today I want to, or for this video, I want to touch base a little bit on the drawing that I did yesterday with the orange Prismacolors. I had a few comments and stuff. See if I can kind of address a couple of those issues, but if you recall, this was the little 40-page booklet. I put up a post last week about it. This 40-page booklet, along with, I have about 350 more drawings that I've collected over the past few years that I'm going to apply towards my new book, along with this. This is about a 50-page book that I picked up that you're probably familiar with. I just started sketching in it, so I think I'm gonna try to get things in order for the book to get published. So by the time that I get this thing filled up, which hopefully will be like, you know, a couple of months, I can get into production with my book and see where that's headed. But I'll keep you guys posted and keep you up to date on what it's going to be, how big. Most likely going to be a hardcover, and again, as big as I can make it, like 450 pages. Anyway, again, these Prismacolors. Lately, I've been sketching with just the orange, but I've been in the past I've sketched with the orange and then tightened up the drawing with the red. You can use any color you want. You can use, you know, light blue and purple, whatever you want. These, I just like how these colors go together, and a lot of times when you shade with this one and start shading with this one, it's just a nice blend. You can do whatever you want. But there was a comment on one of the posts about having to erase all the time. The idea about the way I sketch and is so that you don't have to erase, because, you know, it's easy to put a line where you don't want it. If you were to look closely, you probably can't see them there, but if you were to look closely in these drawings, real lightly, there's probably lines where you don't want them to be, but that's how you're building the drawing. That's how you're building it up to get the lines right where you want them. So I just kind of want to touch base on that again with a little drawing that we can incorporate into this book and show you again how I build things starting out real light, and then once you figure out in the drawing where your lines are going to be, then you can tighten it up with with more pressure with the same color, and then even a darker color. Real quick, you can see the painting, the Haight-Ashbury. That was one of my 3 series: Haight-Ashbury, then Rush Street, and then I also had the 42nd and 8th, which was in New York. Those were my three biggest paintings for part of the Sturgis Lichter show this year. What's the Skinny? Just by the way, I'm going to be at the Sturgis Museum again this year in Sturgis. I'll be there for, I think, 2 or 3 days, possibly. Also with my good friend Kayla from Inferno Studios in Colorado, which will be amazing. Anyway, let's try to pan down here, and we'll try to, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I hope it shows up. But I think what I'm going to do is just kind of a really simple, traditional vintage biker tattoo style bar and shield with a little bit of a twist to it, which I like to apply a perspective to almost all the things I do. And again, just, I don't know if you can see it already, but I've already created lines that I know I don't want those lines, but by building this lightly and putting down lines that you don't want, you know where to put lines that you do want. And again, I'm going with the wings, man. There's just something about them. So with the wings, it's okay to draw the entire outside shape. It's okay to draw just the 2 or 3 lines where you're going to put the different rows of feathers. And then, of course, with the perspective, this one's going to be just smaller because it's in the distance. So once you're like, yep, that line's going to be right there, I'm going to heavy that up a little bit. I'm going to heavy this one up. And then you can even up here, you can these are just traditional cloud lines. I've been tattooing since 89, 90, and a lot of what I do, a lot of art that I create has a tattoo style to it. This wing that's in the foreground is going to be smaller because it's in the distance. And then this one here is going to be, or this one's in the background, sorry. This one's in the foreground, and it's going to be bigger, and it's going to have, you know, probably as much, if not more detail than the other one. And, you know, mix those feathers up. You don't have to make them all end on the same line. You know, mix them up so they have some character to them, some different shapes, and, you know, make them pointy, make them round, whatever you want to do. And then in here we're just going to do some quick lettering. Two wheels. Forever. So everything's kind of roughed in, as you can see. I'm pretty certain that I want everything to be where it's at. So I'm going to go in with a little more pressure and make these lines heavier because that's where I want them to be. I'm going to go in and heavy up the lettering. Simple, traditional. And the more you use the pencil, the sharpness of it's going to go away, and that's a good time to use it for shading. And then if you have an extra pencil lying around that's already sharpened or ready to go, then you can use it for finer detail stuff. Like I said before, I love to incorporate wings into a lot of my art because it just takes the art to another level, in my opinion. It just gives it some character, gives it some action. And then if you want, you can go in here and do some like sun rays. And you can alternate the shading. And so I'm going to go in and heavy up the forever. Just a quick sketch. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. That's the idea, is just to get loose with your drawings and figure out your style. And just build the sketch, build the drawing. I'm going to go in here and shade the sun rays. From a dark to a light, just to kind of accent the clouds and put some, it's all about contrast, bring some of the shading down around the actual piece. So anyway, just kind of a rough sketch, and can't forget to sign it. But just kind of a rough sketch. I'm going to just an event to save some time, but after the video I'm going to go in and shade the wings and stuff, just give a little more detail. But anyway, you get the idea. Again, thanks for tuning in. Darren McKeag on Instagram and McKeag on YouTube. I appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel. Thank you guys so much for following my art. I greatly appreciate it. Have a great Monday. Thank you very much.